Hey guys, it's Diego Diablo from shopairbrush.com, and I am showing you a quick tutorial on how to airbrush some Rick and Morty Converse. I did a live stream a while ago, but I kind of want to go over this real fast. So if you ever want to paint some custom shoes or get some custom Converse painted, here's just a quick tutorial how you do it. So I have these little templates right here of Rick and Morty. So I made a Rick face, and then I made a Morty face. I use some spray adhesive on it, and then I spray it on the back and then put it on the shoe. So what I do is use opaque black first. So this is a jet black by Createx Wicke colors, and I want to airbrush the entire stencil around it. And don't worry about getting on the stencil, whatever, it's fine. Then I used a bright yellow. So this is a fluorescent yellow. Fluorescent colors I like them a lot because you can really have the color pop from the shoe. And then I used the Driscoll color flesh tone. So I filled in his face and his arms. And then I'm switching colors right now, and then using the same yellow for the inside of his shirt. So it's a transparent color, so don't worry about it. It's getting on the black. It's transparent, you won't really see it. And then I added some blue to his pants. Airbrushed a little more by his arm. And I'm freehanding and freestyling the outline. So that gives it a nice, more cartoony feel, then it doesn't look so stencily look. Airbrushing his hair with that brown. And then I'm using this burnt sienna inside his shirt and on his face and around him too. So this gives it that, little tone, so it creates a shadow inside of his shirt and his face, and then makes it more 3D and more realistic. Alright. So now I'm switching colors right now, and I'm using a iwata Eclipse airbrush. So if anybody wants to know what I'm using, I'll link all the information of the guns and the paint and stuff below in the comments section and in the description. Alright, so now I move on, and I kind of just adjust the shoe and make sure everything's working right. Switching the colors, and then I'm moving on to the other side of the shoe right now too. Do the same thing. So I have this template right here. I press it on there, and I use spray adhesive on one side, and then I use spray adhesive for the name too on the other side. So that gives it a really close, sharp contact. So when you airbrush on it, you have a nice, sharp, character design. And always making sure that I'm really, close to this template and stencil, filling in as much color as I can around the character, and really getting a nice, rich black. And then using that yellow again. That fluorescent yellow, those fluorescent colors really pop. So always use those for the background colors. That brings out the shoe more, so you can see, in Rick and Morty they have cartoony look anyways. Alright, so that's done right there. And then I use some more of that Driscoll flesh tone, and that's a really opaque color. So that fills in the flesh color really good. I think I used some burnt umber too to really just add some more shadow on top of that flesh color look. So this is blue, and I added blue, and I mix a little bit of white to it. So it makes it more opaque, and it makes it brighter. And the blue shows up really good on top of the yellow too. Because blue is a cool color, and yellow is a warm color, so they contrast. Adding some freehanded swirls in there, and some lines, and some shading around the outside of the shoe. Just kind of framing in the shoe with the yellow too. Same thing on the other side. Doing some freehand swirls and some dots. And then just blending it in there and shading everything from the bottom up, so it's a nice, really, pretty blend. And then the same thing with the yellow too. So airbrushing the tongue and the side of it. And I move one of the shoes to the back, and then I kind of rotate back and forth, so it lets the paint dry. So then I can add more color on there, and it shows up brighter. So if you see me switching back and forth, that's why. And if you mix blue on top of yellow, you kind of make a cool greenish color. And that really creates that galaxy effect too, because Rick and Morty, always traveling through time and the galaxy, so that gives it that kind of cool galaxy effect. Adding some more swirls right there by the tongue. And I always paint the insides of the tongue and the sides and all the parts that you don't think people see, but just in case if the shoe moves or anything, it'll look really good, and whoever gets is going to be like really happy with it. So I get the template again, and then I press it on there, and then I use whites to add some more highlights around the character. This makes him stand out from the background, and it really, you know, makes him, you know, pop. So I'm gonna add some more freehand little like swirls and little dots right there. Little dots around him. And I do the same thing on the other shoe. So I get the templates, add some more blue first around the entire Converse shoe. And then add some more blue around the name, Rick and Morty. This time I really didn't add any black, I just used really deep blue. And then added some more black from the bottom and kind of, you know, faded it up. So then I added yellow again. And then just adding some more blue around the tongue and the area right there. Just blending it, kind of creating that green kind of, you know, look around it. And I'm drying everything with a blow dryer. So I always like to use a blow dryer when I'm doing fabric because it dries the paint really fast, and then you can add a deeper, brighter color on top of it. You can really layer the colors. So I'm putting the stencil on there again, and I'm using white to outline the character so it separates it from the background, and it really stands out on the shoe. And then I'm using black again to outline the character, freehand, and that gives it, like I said, more comic look, you know. So it's not so like, you know, stencil-y looking. And then it adds the same thing on the other shoe. And then I freehand the name Rick and Morty. It's always cool to freehand some words on there too. I outline it, let it dry, then outline it again, and then I throw some white highlights on the top and kind of fade them down, bringing out the color of the shoe. And then the white is always at the end, throwing little highlights in his eyes, little highlights around the character and everything like that. So the shoes are pretty dry, and the last step, like, is just doing some highlights. And what I do is use a little piece of cardboard or a business card and bounce the white off the business card onto the shoe, and that gives it that speckly galaxy kind of like spray painted look. So that's a really cool trick if you want to create like a little cool galaxy effect. And then I freehand some little swirls there too. And sometimes I even use the paint bottle as a template to create like a little circle for like a moon or something. If you're doing a galaxy and you don't have like any little templates around, you can just use like the bottom of the bottle. So there's a little specks, the little galaxy effect, Rick and Morty. And yeah, I had some fun and painted some shoes, and just wanted you guys to check out the Rick and Morty Converse. I appreciate you checking out the shoes. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'm just adding some more white too, and I'm using that like bottom of the bottle effect that I was talking about. And I'm going over it with a bright yellow. And it's like a yellow. I think I actually mix a little bit of white in there too, so it isn't so dull. Just checking over the shoes, making sure I painted everything correctly. Outlining it one more time so it really pops in the background. Going across the controller. Adding the name Rick and Morty. And just outlining the name so that there's like a little drop shadow in there. And then outlining the character again. So I always go back and forth, adding white, adding black, outlining back and forth, and repainting a lot of areas to make sure that whatever I'm painting on the shoe and everything looks really nice, really bold, and stands out. And if you're Rick and Morty fans, it's even better, you know? Just have some fun painting something, you know, you kind of like watching. Just touching up some more of the edges. just making them more defined, a little sharper, and then white again. Always save white for the last part. And then going over the swirls, and then adding a little bit of blue mixed with white into the Rick and Morty name, so it's not so just so dark, so it stands out a little better. So just using a lot of little colors. You're painting some parts on the tongue, and then the galaxy around Rick and Morty. And I made sure I taped up the shoe too. It's really important so you don't get any paint around it and around the outside. So here you go, the finished Rick and Morty Converse. Kind of got them going side by side. Painted on the outside of the shoe. And use the card to create all the spatter effects. And it kind of bounces off and creates that galaxy effect. So I appreciate you guys watching the channel, and here are the finished shoes. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. And if you want to see more of these, let me know what kind of stuff you want me to paint. And I appreciate you watching. So I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll see you again. All right, bye.